Hi, this is Linda Smith from Top Producer. Jim Bauer here of Bauer Trading. Jim?
Linda, as I mentioned to you off air, I think these reports, we tend to get a little bit calloused about them over a period of time. It seems like there's always a question mark or an issue whether the numbers are right or wrong. But I think this particular report is somewhat unique in that the domestic numbers really were, I actually thought, relatively positive, but then you have to come back to that all-encompassing global situation, and then that tended to be a little bit lean to the negative. But in regards to the numbers themselves, obviously the report favored the nearby soybeans, with that nearby stocks number lower than the trade expectations, and the bull spreads continue to work in the soybean market. But keep in mind, the soybean market has held together reasonably well as we've gone through most of the Brazilian harvest and a good portion of the Argentine harvest. And I think the market's held together better than the trade originally thought, and I think that's due essentially to just this massive consumption base, and I think it's actually an acceleration in the sourcing of feed grains and oil seeds by the Chinese, which just simply does not seem to abate. This morning they announced that they were going to release in China about 1.5 million metric tons out of their corn reserves. The basis inside China has been red hot. That tells me that either the corn is really out of logistical position, or they're really going through a tremendous amount of corn, as well as DDGs. There even has been some chatter, as you know, Linda, that they may have to actually import some corn by the end of the year, particularly if their crop gets into any kind of trouble. Another unique aspect of this particular report is that, we've seen all these negative numbers on wheat, week after week, month after month, but we've seen a little bit of stabilization in the wheat market here over the past couple of weeks, and certainly this report showed for the first time, I think, in many, many months, that finally the global stocks of wheat, at least they appear to me to be at least stabilizing. In fact, I think we had a slight reduction, which is the first time that's been in many, many weeks. So it's not a game changer in wheat, but maybe we finally started the global process of starting to keep this acreage down to a more manageable level. And if there's a weather problem either in the row crops, it might be of some benefit to the wheat crop. The other side note here this morning is I'm just looking at the feeder cattle prices. I'm in Billings, Montana today. I was discussing the market with some professional bull breeders last night at dinner, and certainly this market is red hot, and I'm looking at feeder cattle now at 117, up 120. So that is quite the move in such a short period of time. As you know, Bauer Trading is not very fond of put options, but when the market does go vertical like it is doing, that is the one time when we do start to implement some put strategies or floor strategies, leave the top end open, because I personally think the market can ratchet to a higher price. But it is going vertically, and that is the one issue or time when I will use protectional floors through the puts to delay some kind of degree of protection.
What would you attribute a cattle move to?
It's pretty simple. There's just simply not the cattle numbers there. I spend quite a bit of time in the northern plains with the cow-calf operators, and it just appears to me either they got out of the business or they just tended to shy away from expanding their existing herds. And we know that there's been a tremendous reduction in the female population, particularly the older cows, and even some of the heifers which they did not keep, and consequently we're seeing a situation where, in my opinion, we're seeing the numbers as low as 1951 in the overall cattle numbers, and I think the market has the potential to go higher. The one thing that would really turn this market around real quick would be if we would get into a major drought in either China or the United States sometime during the critical time frame out ahead. So we're really watching the grain structure in relationship to the feeders, but certainly with the first objective being reached now at 117, that was the first line of real heavy technical resistance. We've achieved that very early, and we've still got what looks to me like some further up move. But again, Linda, what goes vertically up has a tendency to come vertically down. So we're sharpening our awareness with our bank lenders and with our producers in this cow-to-calf and fat industry.